Morning. Today we're going to be going out into the garden. Oh, look at that. We've got our first pink aster. Lovely. Oh, and that's a zinnia. I think that might be a sprite. But we'll look like we're going to get a few more zinnias. These were spare ones that I planted, and they were looking very sad for themselves. So they seem to be springing back, which is nice. So it looks like we're going to get some more zinnia flowers. And then this, I can't actually remember what this plant is. Maybe like a gladiola? I think that might be the name. I'll double check. If you know, let me know in the comments. And yeah, that would be great. Anyway, so yes, today I have a couple of things that I want to do in the garden. So we are just popping out here, checking everything's okay. I watered last night. I water in the evening, mostly. I've been gradually tidying this space. Now there's no big pile of twigs. They've all been chipped into wood chip. This is what's left because our wood chipper is actually more of a stick chipper. So it doesn't tend to do anything this big, but I think we'll use this for a bonfire and that'll be fine. We need to have a bonfire before we go. So plan for today is we're actually going on holiday. I need to get this garden a bit more drought tolerant before we go. So a few things that I already have in this garden that make it a bit more drought tolerant is I've got these homemade Ollas. So they store a bit of water, and I've got one in for every 4 square feet. In my shed, I do actually have some larger Olla pots. So this bed is actually new this year. Well, it was new last year. I had my garlic in it, but it doesn't have any Ollas in it. And I am worried that, well, this is a bit more shady anyway, so it doesn't matter too much, but I'm just worried that it's a bit too, like, if while we're away there's a bit of a drought and my friends can't get to it to clean it, then we're going to lose the whole thing anyway. Yeah, so my plan is to make this bed a bit more drought tolerant. I've got 4 larger pots. I don't necessarily want to put them all in here because I think that would be too much, and I think there are other bits of my garden, namely over here, that need a lot more water and would benefit from having at least one big pot in there to draw from if that's needed. So I'm going to go get the big pots and I'm going to dig up one little pot from each of these beds and put it in this bed so that I can get 3 small pots, 1 big pot for each of these beds, and they will all have the same amount of water storage and drought tolerance. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big layer of Drought over the top just to help hold in the moisture, and I'm going to do that for my potatoes and I'm going to do that for these beds. So something I wanted to quickly mention before I go and get those pots. I told you I had a big old flea beetle problem and that I was trying to use beneficial insects to manage them. Well, since we last talked, this little guy has moved in. This is a little spider, and he's happily munching on all of those flea beetles. So yeah, there's still some about, but there's a lot less, I will say that. And one thing that I'm doing is I am pinching off the ones that seem to have the most damage, so I'll probably pinch that one off. Actually, I'll do that now while I'm thinking about it, which, you know, seems counterintuitive, but what I have noticed is since I've done that, I must be pulling off some of the ones with eggs on as well when I do that. They have been bouncing back, so I'm very excited about the fact that they do seem to be bouncing back. So these are my cauliflowers. Haven't actually got a cauliflower yet, but you know, it's balling up inside, so I think we'll have something soon. So yes, between me and the spiders, the flea beetles have had it. Okay, yeah. Let me go get the Ollas and I'll start digging those out. Also, I mentioned in my last video that I don't tend to wear gloves because I don't like the feel of them. I just discovered these are builder's gloves. You get a bit more dexterity in them. That seems to be okay. The ones that I don't like are the ones that they like make your hands really tough. Anyway. Okay, so just coming in here. What was I getting? Oh yeah, me Olla pots. So I don't have real Ollas because they're really expensive, quite frankly. Instead, I have these terracotta lids. Sorry, just moved my son's gardening bits. And I have these large pots. If I can get it out. Now these have holes in the bottom, so I do need to find something to fill the holes with. I think actually I'm just going to bring it in this pan. That works. Bring that out with me. First things first, I'm going to dig up this one because I've got my melon tree here. I want it to have enough water. So if I dig up this Olla, I can replace it with a big one. And you can see what's really lovely about terracotta is this is damp. It's leaching moisture out into the soil at a nice gentle rate, so it stops it drying out, but it doesn't waterlog it. So you can kind of put loads of water into this and have your soil be nice and moist. If we look at the just trying to think, look at the soil that I've just taken out. It's a little bit dry actually, but it's not like waterlogged. Anyway, I'm sure it's fine because all of my plants seem very happy with the water content, so I think it's probably okay. So in its place, I'm going to put this much bigger Olla. Now, this does have a hole in the bottom, which I'll need to cover up. So I need to find a rock or something to put in there before I put the lid on. But I've got time to do that. I don't have to do that right this moment, but I do want to get on with getting the pots in the ground. So I want to make it a bit bigger because it's a wider pot, and I want to make sure it goes down as deep as the other Olla did. And don't worry too much about the plants being stressed out. Half of them are dying anyway. And what doesn't die will bounce back. So, you know, it'll be fine. Okay, so here we can see that the water line is just the same level as the soil there. I'm going to get my lid and I'm going to chuck that on top. Maybe that way up. Yeah, perfect. So now creepy crawlies can't get in there. Because that's what's happened with some of my others that have these exposed holes. Even if they're tiny holes, little bugs will get in there. Slugs especially. Slugs have definitely gotten into all of my other Ollas, most likely. I only really saw them crawling out that one, to be fair. So it's possible that they're not in there. Who knows? Okay, so that's one done. 3 to go. Okay, so once again, I'm coming to the bed that I feel has the most need. So I'm going to dig up this one. Let me see. Shall I do the one next to the cucumbers or next to the tomatoes? Let's see. Cucumbers feel like they need more water. Okay, right. Oh, I need to replant that lettuce. That was a sweet gem. Also, I've made a big mistake because all of my basil's bolting. So I think at the moment it's working as pest control more than anything, which, you know, it works as pest control. Got a little cucumber there to take in with me. Pop that there. Got to try and stay on track, Amy. Okay, I think cucumbers probably need this big one more. So let's get in there. And we're just gonna pull them out. like that. And I don't know if you can see, probably not, but the roots have attached, not like attached, but like they're sucking on the water from the Olla. Like all around the bottom of this Olla, in fact you can see it there, that's all roots, and they'll kind of absorb the water from the Olla itself. So it's a really great drought protection, especially, you know, we've been getting absolutely nuts summers. You know, this year, last year, I don't understand it. We didn't used to have heat waves every summer, but every single summer that I've been gardening, and that's about 4 years now, we've had a heat wave. So I'm just going to widen this hole a bit. Okay. Plant roots probably aren't going to love this, but they will bounce back. So my second Olla here. Quick rub off because it's a bit dusty. I'm going to try and get this deep. So first check what's our level. Need to dig down about a couple of inches. I'll get that done. Yep, perfect. Okay, so let's tuck this back in. Enjoy your new bed, little Olla. Obviously not a real Olla, but works exactly the same way and much, much cheaper. I bought these terracotta pots. Make sure it is proper terracotta and not secretly plastic. But I bought these ones from the range and they were about £2.50 each. So £2.50 for a little bit of plant insurance. I'm happy with that. Okay, and we'll take our little Olla. Oh, there you go. The lids were separate. They were about £1 each, so £3.50. I think that's pretty good value to be able to preserve the hard work that I've put into these plants, quite frankly. I did buy these ones. So this is the homemade one. This is 2 small terracotta pots that I sealed together with silicone, and I also sealed the hole at the bottom with silicone. So again, just deciding which pot needs to be a bigger pot. And I think, you know, this is watermelon, and I don't think it likes being dry, because what keeps happening is I get the little watermelon and then it will dry out and it's just not massively happy. If I show you one, is that one a happy one? No, that's an unhappy one. So it's gone brown and it's squishy and it's not going to turn into anything. So I keep getting little watermelon, but they never seem to turn into anything. So we shall see if I actually get anything from that. It was an experiment. I don't know if I'm going to do it again next year, but it'll be all right. Now these ones are half sticking out the ground because this bed isn't quite full. And I wanted to make sure that when I backfill it with more soil in the autumn, that it would have space to stay up without disturbing the rest of the soil. But obviously today I'm pulling it out anyway. So just so that we can get this new one in. So they came out a lot easier because they weren't dug down into it. I'm just widening that hole and pulling out a bit of extra soil at the bottom just to make sure that this has the right depth to go to. There we go. That was nice and easy, that one. So interestingly about this soil, this was my carrot bed last year as well. And so I had heard that carrots like sandier soil. So I added like about 3 or 4 bags of gritty builder's sand to this soil. So it's a bit sandier, which I think has kept it a lot looser, which is why I tend to get nice carrots. I am obviously doing a bit of crop rotation. So the plan is for this bed next year to be brassicas, that bed to be carrots and onions. That bed over there is going to be my corn and squash, and then that bed there is going to be my Mediterranean bed. Now I'm a little bit worried because obviously Mediterranean likes sun. I'm hoping that we'll still have enough sun in that bed because it is a bit of a shadier bed, but you know, worst comes to worst, we can always chop down a bush or something. I'm joking, we might not even be here next year. We still haven't quite figured out the exact timeline for moving to Sweden. But I'm sure, see, these are much better. I don't feel like as weird wearing them. Anyway, sensory issues, gotta love them. Okay, so we're on to our last bed. Thinking again, what might need the most water. I think this bed is pretty even all over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go with the bed that's probably easiest to get to in terms of watering. So I think probably that corner over there will be my big one. And then these can go one. So it's quite easy to figure out if you've only got a 16-foot bed, is because every 4 you'll have one in the corner. So it's one in the middle of each of the 4 sections. I'll get one of these Ollas put in. And these are already half filled, which is great. So that one will go in here. Actually, to be fair, I think it might be easier with that one because there's a bit more room to work. So I think I'm going to swap these 2 over. Yeah, this is what I was worried about. This soil is really dry. As soon as you dig down, it's dry. And obviously, brassicas being cool weather crops would probably prefer to have a little extra moisture in the bed. So I'm glad I'm doing this now. This bed again, it needs a bit more filling. So I'm gonna let it stick out a little bit higher than I normally would like. It's not gonna be ground level because I'm gonna backfill it anyway. Now, normally I would recommend doing this before you put all your plants in. I'm just a bit chaotic as a gardener, but you know, gardens spring back, and I've benefited from a gardening strategy I call benign neglect, which is I don't fuss over my plants too much. I don't overwater them. The Ollas allow me to have that benign neglect because obviously in very hot weather you probably would want to water pretty much every day, and I'm pretty sure that that's the reason that I've got the blossom end rot on the tomatoes. So it doesn't always work, but most of the time my garden just gets on with itself and it's fine. Oh, sneaky weeds. That's not a spinach. They're spinach, but I'm not liking how they look. Yeah, I think I might pull those because they're going to get confused with weeds anyway. Right, that's 2 down. I'm just going to uncover these little plants here. around there, that'll be fine. Okay, right. Then we can put our lid on. Get rid of the tag. Okay, right. All done. Now I just got to water those in. And what I mean by water in, I want to get the soil all around the Olla wet so that the soil sticks to the Olla and the plant roots can come back and drink off it like you saw on that other one. So the better contact the soil has, the quicker that will happen. And then they'll be happier and spring back a lot quicker. Okay, and then I'm also just going to switch it to my nice gentle nozzle. I'm going to get all of this soil around the edge. Nice and wet, nice and attached to my new Ollas. Oh, I forgot to put the stones in. Well, we'll have to see if that makes a difference. If it does, I'll wait for it to dry out and I'll put one in. We'll soon find out together. All right, so this is pure experiment because we saw how dry that soil was just a few inches down. This is going to help all of that water stop being on the surface and get right down into the soil. So we shall see if these brassicas get even stronger. That's the idea. I want really strong brassicas so that they can fight off pests and diseases happily on their own. Although I am very thankful to you, Spider, for your support in making this bed manageable. Check how empty this is now. Oh, completely empty, without a stone blocking anything. And just for reference, these I filled up yesterday, they were still 2/3 full. So I think I definitely need to seal the bottom. Maybe I should get some silicone sealant. Yeah, I should sort that. Oh well, at least I know now. And the bottom's had a nice deep watering. So there's that. I've got my little one just in the corner here. Hopefully you can't see him. He's observing what I'm doing. Because he decided he didn't want an afternoon nap. So it's time that I set aside for planting out some more pots. Gone. Oh well. That is life with babies. You don't have plans anymore. No more plans. Right. Pretty sure that the last time I did beets, I did beetroot 9 9 per square foot, so that's these yellow ones. Come on, out you come. Oh, it's stuck. There you go. Radishes we can do 16 per square foot. Well, that's celery. That's in my red beet Bordeaux or Cylindra. Bordeaux. And then I wanted to do this square here. So what's interesting is because this Olla is so much bigger, whereas these I could easily fit my square foot around it and only maybe lose one section. So here I've got 2 onions when they're 9 per square foot. So this area I actually only have 8 onions because the Olla is taking up 1. Here, this Olla, the bigger one, takes up a lot more. It probably takes up 2 of the rows and down, so I've got a lot less space. I reckon I probably got a space for about 6 more beetroot instead of 9. So it is what it is, because obviously better off having 6 that survive and have good health than having 9 that are, you know, struggling because it's a drought. Right. Okay, so I tried to do this one before. This is Burpee's Golden. I want some golden beets. I didn't get any when I last planted these. But also I forgot where I planted them. I still think I didn't get any. I'm pretty sure I didn't get any. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Should be about right. I'll chuck 2 of these in each hole. Hopefully at least one of them will germinate. Yeah, you think that's a good strategy, do you? Yeah, I think it's a good strategy. Thank you. I look at you always agree with me. Your brother's getting to the age of literally saying no to everything. His favourite word at the moment, isn't it? No. Hey, is that your brother's favourite word? Okay, so I'm gonna leave that. That's done. I need to water it in. I'm gonna come and do the lettuce box, because as you saw I took out all that lettuce because I tasted it the other day when I came out to the garden to get some salad and it was bitter. So needs replanting. So that'll be that. So I'm just gonna go change little one's bum and then I'm gonna move you guys so you can see what I'm doing over there and we'll be back. reality of gardening with kids is you plant them a lovely tomato planter with lots of lovely cherry tomatoes, thinking that they'll enjoy picking them. Do they? No, they take one off every now and again, eat it, go, ugh, I hate tomatoes, and spit them out. So we're at the stage now, instead, of me picking them and giving them away to my walking mum buddies. That's just what's got to happen, because I don't want them to go to waste. And I only have space in my freezer for so many. Some of these will become tomatoes for roasting into a Mediterranean veg mix. That's how I tend to use them, if I can't have them all in salads. But I only really have space in my freezer for one bag of them. Not this many. What on earth? I have a tomato with a nose on it. I don't know. Can you see that? It's a tomato with a nose. I have to show that one to my son because he'll find that funny. This is a mini cherry variety called cherry cerise, which tastes just like candy. I don't understand why my son doesn't like them. I think he must have had one that was slightly underripe and just decided he doesn't like those ones. So I was leaving some of those on because they're not actually fully ripe yet. The way that you can tell if a tomato is fully ripe is if you take one, well, apart from the fact that they fall off on their own, if you take one that's fully ripe, there's a little knuckle above the tomato, and if you push on it, it'll pop off if it's fully ripe. If you're like tugging on it and it's not coming, it's not ripe yet. Now, if it is like this level and you don't want any buggies to get it, or you're about to go away on holiday, you can actually pick that at that level of ripeness, because that's at least 2/3 ripe, and that will continue to colour up. It's got all the nutrients it's going to get from the plant now. It's just a case of ripening up in the sun. But they do taste slightly better when they've ripened in the sun, in my opinion. About this tomato plant is it's looking so sorry for itself, and yet it's still pumping out fresh tomato flowers. You'd have thought it would have given up on that kind of thing. Just focus on, you know, getting the rest of the fruit ripe. Oh yeah, don't know if you can see here, got some beautiful, beautiful snapdragons. And also my purple aster is going a bit wild, so that's really lovely to see. Yeah, we've got lots of things up here. So I've got my salad wall, which I've taken some pickings off it, but also so have the slugs. So all of those empty ones, that's where slugs have come in and nibbled away. Oh well, at least they can't get my dill and my parsley. And then I've got another salad thing over there, just because I had a few spare plants. in. So these are very happy. I don't know why, they just like that planter. Unlike my strawberries that really don't like that planter. So I think I'll probably put salad leaves in both next year so that I can actually have nice salads, because actually strawberries really like that salad wall and I have no idea why. So yeah, strawberries in there next year.